Okay, I'm starting fresh this morning, starting with a new account. And so 4 hour chart here, we start off, we can definitely see it's uptrending, but again, it made a new high, and so it's way above the blue SMA. And also the other two SMAs. It's very, very extended. And you can also see that on the RSI and the MACDs. Now, the MACD here, this peak is lower than this one. So it tells us it might be peaking out and starting to lose momentum. Maybe got some more room to go up. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking it's pretty overextended right now. All right, and the 1 hour chart, kind of see that the peak here, if it is made a peak, it is lower than the previous one. I drew in a Fibonacci line here. I could probably have put this over here on this low point as well. The green price lines here are the SMA. And I did start off by putting all of my indicators on the MES, but then I changed over to the ES this morning, and then I kind of repeated all of the indicators on that one. So they should match up pretty well. Haven't moved over my volume profile quite yet. Okay, now I did that. And we can see that we are at the top of that volume area high from Friday. So that's kind of acting as a resistance level right through here. There's a few wicks that went above it, but mostly that's acting as a resistance level. So even if it does end up going up higher today, I do think it's ready for a drop. And the closer I zoom in, I'm here at the 15-minute chart, it looks more and more like it's going to be dropping. I drew in the two lines here. The first green line is up here on the 30-minute chart, kind of where these two SMAs are, the 20 and the 50. And then the second one, I'm going to put down here a little bit further. All right, so basically I think it's going up, it's uptrending. I want to wait till it drops down a bit and shows that it's turning and going up, and we can see that it's imminently dropping right through here. But I don't want to go into a short because it's uptrending, so I want to trade with the trend this morning. So I have to wait for it to drop and turn and then come up. All right, on the 1 minute chart here, you can see it's at support. So now we're just kind of waiting to see, is it going to break through that support and show a turn up or not. All right, now I've switched over to the ES. All of my lines are pretty much the same. And it did kind of look on the 5-minute chart. Honestly, I forgot that I was on the 5-minute chart, which was probably a good thing, because I can definitely see a bounce right through here, and it kind of bounced just above the SMA, which is not unusual if it's going to be uptrending. So, and we can see, the RSI is turning up here, and the MACD is getting ready to as well. So I went ahead and put in an order, a buy order here, and that means that my exit order is going to be down here below this peak, below these peaks by a few ticks, and that would be, a reasonable, a little bit painful. I like to try to keep my losses under 200. But a decent stop loss, and I don't expect it to get all the way up to this peak because I'm not sure if this uptrend is going to continue or not. So I put in my exit order way up here, and you can kind of see this is the peak here, and I don't know, it just seemed like there was a lot of hesitation right through. You can kind of see right there, here. There was just a fair amount of hesitation right at this level here. So that seemed like a decent spot on the 5-minute chart to get out. And that was a really good dollar amount as well. I'm not super happy with where my stop is. It's not quite 2 to 1, but, I think if it goes up, I can adjust it later too. So got in here, and really, really hard to not touch it. It was really hard. So I went over to the 1 minute chart here and kind of thought, what, I probably should have waited because I got in up here and then it started to make this drop. And I thought, okay, well, we just retested this lower level, but it did actually drop below it just a little bit, just briefly. I mean, it's a wick there. Not terribly surprising. This is the 1 minute chart, so these exact dollar amounts and the wicks and everything are not quite as important. But, it's a little bit concerning, honestly. So I should maybe waited a little bit longer to get in. But I think I'll be all right. I don't know. We'll have to just see. You can kind of see right through here a little bit clearer that level where it hesitated right through there. So that's why I put my limit order right there. I haven't moved it. This is exactly the same setup that I showed in the other one. And I think I was ready for it to stop out at this point. I thought, oh man, it's only 4 ticks away from getting stopped out there. I'm going to get stopped out of this one, and that's kind of a shame. But it's very possible it's going to drop down a lot further, and then I'll be able to get into another position, a long position. At that point, it's better. But it hit that point just like 2 ticks above my stop, and made a huge bounce upward, which encompassed the last candle big time. And this is the 1 minute chart. It went right up to the SMA here. And so now we're kind of at a resistance level, but I don't think it's going to be a strong resistance level. I think it's going to go above it, especially with that strong of a move. And it did. So now I got back the losses. It's sitting at the point where I'd gotten in, and I am feeling a lot more confident at this point about it going up. So just kind of watching it. All right, I have to allow it to move. It dipped down, made a higher low, which is really important, and then continued on up. And again, it was really, really hard not to touch this, just to let it play itself out. I haven't seen any information here that leads me to believe that we're going to have a huge drop imminently. And this is just a short-term move here. It's not quite the opening bell. We're still, 15, 14, 13 minutes away from that. So I'm just kind of waiting for it to get up to my exit order here. And at this point, I raised up my stop just to get it more in line with the 1 to 2 loss ratio at this point, because I don't want to put it too close. I could put it right up here at break even, but it's pretty likely to drop down and kick me out at that point. So I want to give it a little bit more wiggle room than that. I'm pretty happy with this now. This is a good place. This is only $100 loss. So, and it's not too tight. So anyhow, just kind of waiting. And I left the room and was watching it on my phone, and just to make sure just before the opening bell that it was truly going to go up to where I wanted to before the opening bell, because things happen quickly at the opening bell there. And sure enough, it did. It zipped up there. Actually, it didn't zip. It kind of creeped a little bit. It was a little bit iffy. Went up to the Fibonacci line and just over. And I think my order was at 89 or something. So, it went up another point above that, or 2 even. And then I got my limit order. So my first trade, and what's going to be my only trade, I made almost $270. And then from that point, it did have that big drop, and it went down to those 2 green lines that I suspected it would go to. And so I'm super happy with that.